Hey, here we go. Check this out.
This is Whole Nother Level with Dwayne Lindo.
You know, frankly, I feel that we shouldn't even be talking about this. Simple as that.
The great L. Bushman.
They'd have to make so many adjustments, but I don't know what they have to do. They need a miracle. They need a miracle.
Frank Mazzei.
Did they win the offseason in free agency? Yes. What does that mean? Absolutely nothing.
Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Craig Cousin.
How can you not put Tom Brady number one on the Mount Rushmore of quarterbacks? Man, this guy's a legend. Rings speak.
And Eric Wilson.
I didn't know Eric was going to let you talk.
Don't hate the player, hate the game. I've seen enough Facebook posts to know that you're not a Giants fan. Let's go. And welcome, everyone, to another edition of Whole Nother Level right here at Co-Work, Florida. Beautiful Lakewood Ranch right outside of Sarasota. This is Whole Nother Level, and we got a surprise. I didn't expect to see the Super Bowl bandwagon run in here today. Actually, I can't even call him bandwagon.
Bandwagon.
I can't. Craig is in the building with us, man.
It's a Super Bowl week.
Yeah.
Of course I'm in the building.
You know what I'm saying? We got the factual Frank Mazzei, the great L. Bushman. This is your man Eric with us. But as we do every Tuesday from 6 to 7:30, Whole Nother Level. And, yeah, as Craig said, it is Super Bowl week. And, all right, just before we get started, does everybody have their backpacks? Everybody good? Everybody okay? Okay.
A certain someone on the Atlanta Falcons lost his.
So has New England hired that reporter yet?
Backpack gate is in full effect.
Does he have a job? I mean, are they going to introduce him and be like, this is our new director of
What I don't get is you almost lost it once with the reporter taking your book of all of your plays, and then you lose your backpack.
Right. Kyle Shanahan, you are not making a good case for why you should be the head coach of the San Francisco 49ers, my brother.
He's sabotaging himself.
He's making a perfect case because that's what they're getting.
He's not going to have that problem in San Francisco about being in the Super Bowl and leaving his play behind.
Okay.
Playbook
All
behind.
right. I mean, I'm just asking because, I mean, I was like, wow, I was very surprised to see all of that go down. But anyhow, we are Whole Nother Level. As always, 813-699-5353 is the number to chime in. Craig, you had a very interesting conversation going on with Mr. Dwayne Lindo, who's not joining us this evening, earlier today. So I think we should start with that because here's what I will say. I was in Orlando this past weekend. Did not actually go to the Pro Bowl because it just started way too late, and I was like, man, I still got to go to work.
It was very late on a Sunday.
It was.
Very, very late.
It was. And so, I did watch it from home. Didn't really feel like I missed much. But apparently, Richard Sherman went on Twitter to say that he feels that being paid $30,000 because you are the losing team.
Yes,
the winning team won $61,000. They got paid $61,000. He feels that that's not enough to play in the Pro Bowl. He feels that you should get paid a full game check for the Pro Bowl. Now, Dwayne has gone on record as saying, even going so far as to quote, in my opinion, the great Herm Edwards and saying, what was wrong with what he said? You're always one game away from a career-ending injury, even though very little defense is played in these games, Richard Sherman feels like he should be paid more. Now, Craig, you feel differently.
Oh, I feel completely different. I'm on the opposite side of the spectrum on this one.
Okay.
For multiple reasons. First reason being, he doesn't have to play in this game. How many people are actually accepted to the Pro Bowl and like, you know what, I'm not going to do it because I'm in a contract here. This is supposed to be an honor. I think we've actually forgotten this. This is supposed to be an honor and a privilege. When you make it to a Hall of Fame, if so, they actually put that you made 8 or 9 Pro Bowls on that. So if it's not worth anything, then don't even put it on the Hall of Fame bracket itself. For him to come out and say that he should be paid more for a game that is supposed to be the highest of honors, voted by fans, voted by coaches, basically saying that you're a top player at your position, and then he's not paid enough for it?
I agree. Don't play in the game. Don't go. I mean, you don't have to. And if you want a real game check, then play a real game.
Right.
Make it because look, the Pro Bowl, I mean, has long been it's been a joke. So you want a real game check? You guys come out there and go at it. Go for broke.
I don't know what he's really complaining about anyways. Who really hits in the Pro Bowl?
Well,
Nobody.
Nobody. The only person that really gets hit is the kicker. That's the only person that gets hit is the kicker.
But I was watching this game, and here's what I saw. Apparently, the pregame speech that Ray Lewis gave the AFC, Ray Lewis has been known for lighting fires under people, getting people motivated, getting people to exceed their level of athleticism and their level of talent. So it appeared as though the AFC was playing a tad bit harder than the NFC side, and it worked in their favor because they wound up winning the Pro Bowl. I will agree with you, gentlemen. You know what? If you know how much money you're collecting and you don't feel that's enough to warrant you to go out there and do it, then by all means, pass on it.
Listen, the winner of the Pro Bowl, which is an exhibition game, gets $61,000. That is higher than most people make in an entire year.
I agree.
$30,000 is what some people make for an entire year, and this is an exhibition game. It doesn't count. They're getting paid to lose the game. $30,000. One of the comments I saw actually on this article, because I actually read it, the first person that commented said, and I quote, "I spent a year in Iraq and made $30,000. Let that settle in for a second. And this dude wants a full NFL game check. It's just ridiculous. I can't. There's no argument that you could give me right now. I don't care about injury. He's already got his contract money. I mean, you can just go on and on and on. He has to feed his family. Last I checked, there's a lot of food that's not that expensive.
And of that 30 grand, I don't know what he is. I know when you get deployed over there, you get hazardous duty pay. If you're married, you get separation pay. So he probably got some bonuses knocked in there to hit that $30,000 mark.
Right. So, all right. So I just wanted to get that out the way. Listen, I was talking to a few people about how do we fix this problem? Because the Pro Bowl does not have the same significance as, say, the All-Star break. The NBA final, the NBA All-Star break doesn't have the same mystique. The Major League Baseball is the only All-Star break where this game matters. So I want to throw this out to you, gentlemen, and I want to see what you think about it. What if, since we are all football people, I don't care who you are, we love football. There are people crying right now because after Sunday, they have to wait until the draft just to get some semblance of NFL football back in their life. So let me ask you this question. What if the Pro Bowl for the NFL was played in the offseason? Let's say it was played in like May or June. And the winner of the winning conference, whether it be AFC or NFC, let's say the AFC won, then the Super Bowl would be played in an AFC stadium. Conversely, if the NFC won, then the Super Bowl will be played in an NFC stadium. Now, I know that's going to speak to, well, can you really make this happen because of time and because of how teams bid on them having the honor? But I feel like this. If you just take Houston and you take Texas and Florida, okay? You could have it in Jerry World or where it's going to be played on Sunday in Houston Stadium. If you come to Florida, you could have it in Tampa or you could have it in Miami. Now, I know that
just throwing Jacksonville right to the curb on that one.
Until
and Miami, too.
No, I said Tampa or Miami. If Jacksonville could actually get there, you know what?
Jacksonville's got the big pool.
Yeah, they renovated that stadium.
If they could get, listen, I want it in Tampa for us. You know, I'm being selfish here, but what I'm saying to you is, would that be something that might make this game more relevant?
I mean, I think it obviously would if they had a chance to represent a conference at their home stadium, whichever one that would be. The problem is with that specific time frame, number one, then you're dealing with rookies that just got drafted. You're dealing with the NFL draft. You're dealing with free agents that haven't even signed yet. Then you're dealing with the fact that, you know, in other major league sports, be it NBA, be it MLB, most of the money is guaranteed in their contract, whereas the NFL has little guaranteed money comparative to those other sports and a higher risk for injury. Then you can make the argument, well, why don't you just go back to a skills competition because it was actually fun, which they did go back to this year.
Right.
And apparently they almost got 1 million viewers to watch on that Saturday night. So I think that they're trending in upward direction. And to give a little light to it, I watched the Pro Bowl and I actually saw a little bit more defense played. And it's evident by the score. Was one of the lowest scoring Pro Bowls, or if not the lowest scoring in NFL history.
I
So
even saw Kirk Cousins go after a ball. Trying to strip a ball away.
and
honestly,
he did.
that was impressive because the interception was not his fault.
No.
And for him to track Aqib Talib down and put his body on the line, strip the ball away, and try to give his team another chance to get the ball. And let's not forget, this guy is a free agent in a huge and he has the availability to go out there and get the best contract of his life. And he wasn't worrying about tearing his ACL or throwing his shoulder, tearing his rotator cuff.
He's auditioning.
Yep.
He's like, hey, this is what you're going to get next year if you sign Kirk Cousins.
When Jason Garrett was the man defending Kirk Cousins, I was like, okay, I've officially now seen everything. Jason Garrett was out there basically being Jason Garrett, which I just want to see him get pissed off one time. But he was actually speaking to the refs saying, come on, man, you got clearly, look who came up with the ball. This is our ball. This is our shot. I was like, well, damn.
Well, think about that, though. The coaches, they make significantly less than the players for them to get $61K.
Yeah.
That's actually a pretty decent paycheck for the coach,
It is.
Yep.
It really is.
Eric, going back to the whole week, I watched this. I was in Orlando too as well, and I didn't watch it live, but I watched the skills competition. It's going in the right direction. I say keep it in the States. Don't put it in Hawaii because then you have all that travel time and all these players are going to be tired afterwards. Keep it in Orlando. Orlando's got so much to do, and with the quarterback competition was great. It was very entertaining, and all the other skills competition as well. So they're headed in the right direction. And I remember back in the day when they had the linebacker competition where there was the weightlifting.
Oh, yeah.
Bring that back into as well. So the NFL is so it boggles my mind that they're one of the biggest TV draws in the world, and when it comes to the Pro Bowl, they always drop the ball when it comes to an entertainment factor. So they're headed in the right direction. They just need for next year just make it into a bigger fanfare. I mean, you're in Super Bowl week,
right?
So why not make it almost as big as the Super Bowl?
You know what? I think that's one good point, though, too. I think, personally, they should move the Pro Bowl until the week or two after the Super Bowl. That way, the participants that are actually playing in the Super Bowl, the fans get to see them one more time as well. I mean, how many times has, a Tom Brady and Eli Manning, whoever's in the Super Bowl every year, not even been able to go down to the Pro Bowl because obviously they got accepted, but they're not going to play right before the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but
so move it after.
It's only been the last couple of years that they've brought it back to where it's the week between the conference championship and the Super Bowl. Normally, it was the week after.
Yeah, and I also think that another thing that would be beneficial for them to do is start on a Wednesday or Thursday, make it like a Pro Bowl week, like an All-Star week. And then the game's on Saturday night, not a Sunday. It's hard enough for the Super Bowl to be on a Sunday. I mean, if it wasn't like set in stone Super Bowl Sunday, let's be honest, like everybody has to go to work on a Monday. That's not a good time to have the Super Bowl.
Nope.
Like Super Bowl Saturday would have so many more viewers in my opinion, and everybody would have so much more fun.
While I agree with you, I think it is becoming the fact that Super Bowl Monday, the day after,
they might make it an official.
They have to make it. I mean, I'm telling you right now, I'm not going to work.
Well, Arthur Blank got his kid off school, I heard.
The NFL doesn't have to be good. That's at those things because they have the best game, the best product, and people beaten down basically to watch whatever they do to where, I mean, you can get year-round coverage now on ESPN of NFL Today and everything because
they have their own network.
It's that popular. So it's like they almost don't have to be good. I mean, whoever their creativity, their planning department is, I mean, it's just it's a shame. I mean, they should have the best people, but clearly they don't.
Did anyone even know that the NHL All-Star Game was this weekend?
No clue.
Yeah, nobody knew. I literally, Adam Shine on his show was like, he came out and said, somebody called and it's like, oh, did you see the new All-Star Game for, the NHL or the, whatever it might be? And he's like, oh, no, I didn't watch that for two reasons. One, nobody gives a damn. And two, nobody gives
And
a
the
damn.
funny thing about that was it was actually an entertaining game.
That's what I heard.
That's the funny
but
thing.
literally, they can't even get anybody to turn on the TV.
They need better marketing because they're the exact opposite of the NFL's problem. I mean, they need to have the best people in there promoting that and planning it because it's just they're just not as popular.
I think they got some views because everybody saw Justin Bieber get body checked into the boards by.
Oh, I
Pronger.
heard about that.
yeah.
I didn't know
Did you
that.
see
was,
the look on his face
I
when
might
he
have
was
tuned in for that.
okay?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Bieber's all smashed up against the boards, and Pronger's just got this huge grin on his face, like he just won the lottery. He's like,
Pronger's a beast too.
Yeah.
I mean, he's huge.
dude's been thrown out of the game like 8 times.
already this season?
No, throughout his career,
okay.
he's been
I was
thrown out.
like-
But he's a lifer enforcer. So to have him body check Justin Bieber against the boards for their celebrity hockey game, dude, that was.
I
awesome.
thought you were saying 8 times
No,
this
no,
season.
no,
I was
no,
like,
no.
didn't the season just start? All right, so something else that happened. Houston Texans, speaking of the Super Bowl and where it's going to be held, they have officially hired Wes Welker as an offensive/special teams assistant. So he's going from slot receiver to coach. Craig, how do you feel about this?
I think it's a good spot for him. He's not taking like a high-level coaching position. I think that he knows the wide receiver position fairly well. He knows he's been in a couple of different systems now. You played in Miami for years. You're with Tom Brady for years, and then you play with Peyton Manning. I mean, you can't get too much better than that playing with 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks.
Right.
He knows how to run every route. He has good hands. I think he's pretty much a perfect complement for an offensive coach, offensive coordinator, a wide receiver coach, an assistant type of deal there. So I think it's a pretty good fit there. And listen, he might work well with Will Fuller over there. Obviously, DeAndre Hopkins is a beast. So, he can only get better. Hopefully they get a quarterback in there that, can get him the ball because I'd like to see that. But he's also, from what I've heard, a pretty good evaluator of talent. So, he might be one of these guys that's out there scouting some college teams and be able to bring in some of those new faces and kind of develop and mold them as well.
Are they going to make him wear the big helmet during practice?
Yeah, is he going to remember any of the routes and
might
stuff
actually-
for all these players?
I just have
He's
to
going to have to wear a
questions he's had?
sideline helmet instead of a headset.
Look,
he can't afford to get hit on the sideline.
you got to start somewhere. It's like the next step in the career.
Unless you're John Lynch.
Well, yeah, really.
And we will get to that momentarily.
But look, he was overlooked coming out of college, so that may help him. To your point about him being a good evaluator of talent. A lot of people passed on Wes Welker at a Texas Tech when it came draft time. So, it'll be. And look, Houston is basically New England South. What Vrabel's the D coordinator now. You got O'Brien, Wes Welker. So. It seems like a good fit.
Garoppolo could come to town. You never know.
He's not coming to town.
never know.
Oh, my God.
Garoppolo's going to be somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, we already know Garoppolo's going to be somewhere. Either Cleveland, Chicago, or Arizona, or the Cardinals. Something with a C. That's where Garoppolo's going to
Could
be.
be San Fran.
There's very few teams where you could say that they're one player away from doing something.
They actually are.
They
actually are.
If they had a real quarterback,
They had the number 1 defense with J.J. Watt missing most of the season.
you look at like Hopkins, Fuller, Lamar Miller. It's just it's a shame.
Yeah, C.J. Fedorowicz is pretty good.
Yep.
They have the other one, Ryan Griffin, as tight end. I really think that they are probably a quarterback and maybe one other skill position player away from being really, really good.
All right, so clearly, since you touched on it, let's go to it. And I'm going to go to the great Al Bushman on this one. So sometimes I guess it's better to be lucky than good or know somebody in the organization as opposed to having the experience. John Lynch, your Tampa Bay Buccaneer Ring of Honor Hall of Fame guy, Super Bowl champion John Lynch is now the 49ers general manager. Jed York and that whole DiBilatella, I don't know how to say the family's name or whatever.
DeBartolo.
Thank you, DeBartolo family.
Who has ties in Tampa? They live in Tampa.
Brought in John Lynch and said, you are the guy. So, Great Al Bushman, I need to hear from you. How do you feel about this? And can you please be objective about this?
I'll try to be.
All right.
I like it because what else do the Niners have to lose?
Pretty
you're
much
bringing
everything
worse.
for the next
you
6
can't-
years.
You're bringing somebody in.
So they're going
no coaching experience.
but they're going the John Elway route. Okay? And from what I've heard, he's got a really good eye for talent.
Okay, I'm happy.
So what's going to okay, so you bring Shanahan in. These guys are going to evaluate players as much as they can, especially going in the draft. the one big question is, what are they going to do at quarterback? Are they going to give up 2 first-round picks to go get Kirk Cousins?
Listen, you may not need to give up 2 first
Well,
rounds.
Kirk Cousins is a free agent.
Yeah.
He can just go and sign over there right now.
So I like the idea that they're going. They're not going to go some outside guy that was a stock trader or some dude that was. I like this idea because they're bringing players into organizations that have good eyes for talent. They know the game and they know how to evaluate people, and that's what they need to do to basically right the ship again.
But at the general manager position, that's what
It's
I'm
a
saying to
ballsy
you.
move.
Listen,
It's
as
a
a
ballsy
coach,
move.
as a coach, an offensive coordinator, Wes Welker being now in Houston, I think that's a great position for him. Craig made all the points, but John Lynch has never managed.
Has John Elway?
Actually, he did. John Elway ran a not NFL Europe,
toilets.
not NFL Europe. What's the other NFL? Arena League football team. John Elway ran an entire organization, an Arena League football team, and had a winning record over there before anything to do with signing with Denver. And let's be honest, he also was a Hall of Fame quarterback.
Right.
Knew the entire system he was going to.
Exactly. So right there, that makes my point. Thank you, John Lynch. And don't get me wrong, I like him. I've met him. He's a great guy. I'm sure wonderful character. I'm sure he's got a family, the whole 9 yards. But what I'm saying to you is his resume does not equal general manager of a NFL team.
So you're surprised they didn't go out and get like Joe Montana or Jerry Rice?
Well, I'm just saying, bring somebody in who at least has even the slightest bit of experience.
Listen, I was as shocked and kind of like a Scooby-Doo moment, like really? Like,
he volunteered for that job.
Yeah, so this is I was just
He
like...
did. I was just...
Because if you have nobody else that wanted the job, why not take a chance on a guy that played the game?
Here's 2 things that I'll say to try and, well, not defend it, but he went to Stanford, so at least he's smart.
Yeah, he's from the Bay Area and everything.
And in fairness,
Wait, didn't Jim Harbaugh go to Stanford?
Yeah.
so we know that Jed York just likes to part ways with Stanford.
Well, Harbaugh coached at Stanford. He didn't. He went to school at Michigan.
I know.
But in fairness, John Lynch was up for the Broncos job before John Elway got it. He was his name was in that conversation for taking over. So he must interview really well, or people around the league think very highly of him, because this isn't his first.
Listen, anything to get him off the air because he's a terrible commentator.
But this is what I'm saying to you. I take nothing away from John Lynch as the person. No character flaws. He's a great human being. But what I'm saying to you is, look at the pool that is out there of guys who are qualified to actually be a general manager of an NFL organization. And for whatever reason, Jed York and the whole DeBartolo family said, no, we want to go get I won't say a virtual unknown, but an unknown when it comes to GMs. Granted, played the NFL, has a Super Bowl championship. You think of the name John Lynch, what do you think of? Defense,
toughness,
Tampa Bay, toughness. He's going to bring that mental, just a fierce component that has been missing from the 49ers. But he's not just he's managing. Can he get 53 guys together along with his head coach, and can they all be a cohesive unit? First things first, Kaepernick has got to go. That's the first thing that needs to happen. I don't care if you bring in Garoppolo. I don't care if you bring in Kirk Cousins, Nick Foles, Brock Osweiler. I don't care who you bring in.
Eric Wilson.
Whatever.
Like the 3 or 4 guys that were up for that job all just kept pulling out. I mean, but basically the guys that were qualified, it's like nobody. Here's what San Francisco has now. They at least have a vocal like John Elway when you think Denver Broncos, you think John Elway. He's the face of the organization. That's John Lynch now for San Francisco, which, I mean, they didn't have a face of the organization, the last couple of years. So if he can bring any kind of stability, at least to that organization, and the coach is going to have to get the 53 guys, on that page.
And we still don't know who the coach is, because Kyle Shanahan has not officially.
Somebody knows who the coach is, because that was probably in his backpack.
The qualifying offer, he's going to get a 6-year deal. So they're just waiting until after the Super Bowl.
The fact that Lynch already contacted Shanahan, I mean,
Okay, fine.
No,
Go ahead.
I got to say, this is not a good move. Listen to this. The 49ers have dropped the ball over and over and over again. They are still paying Jim Tomsula, which hasn't even coached there in years.
And Chip
They're
Kelly.
still paying John Harbaugh. They're still paying Chip Kelly. They're going to bring in a fourth head coach that they're still paying. I'm not even kidding. They're going to be paying 3 to 4 head coaches, and then they're going to give a 6-year contract that somebody hasn't even done it before. So, and by all measures, I've heard Kyle Shanahan's going to get a 6-year deal. This is unheard of. So to even hire him in general is unheard of, but to give him a 6-year contract when something similar to how about a 3-year contract and prove it to me? Prove me like something's moving in the right direction. 6 years? Are you kidding me?
But what you're doing, and I'm not trying to defend the 49ers here on this, but what I'm saying to you is what you are doing is saying this is our all-in move from the organization from the top down. We are investing 6 years in a general manager. We are investing 6 years into a head coach. We all sit here and talk and say coaches need 2 to 3 to sometimes 4 years to build a team. So the 49ers, Jed York is saying, okay, I've heard all the riffraff. I've heard all the talk. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to listen, I hate to say this, to the people. That's what he's doing. And saying, okay, I'm going to give John Lynch 6 years. You can evaluate talent. You can find me good players. Here's a 6-year contract. Do it. He's looking at Kyle Shanahan. I've seen what you're doing in Atlanta. The fact that you are on course to potentially beat the greatest quarterback who's ever played the game and win a Super Bowl. I want your offensive prowess in my organization. And to do that, I'm going to give you 6 years. Build me a team.
but he's got to. I mean,
I understand what you gentlemen are saying, but on the flip side of it all, this is what we talk about. We always say to you, well, this coach got a bum rap because he only got 2 years and he couldn't get the job done. He needs a 3rd year or a 4th year. Jed York is saying, I'm going to extend that. I'm going to give you 6 years.
He's got more
Make
money
it
than
happen.
sense. I mean, look,
I agree with you.
At some point, mommy needs to step in and say, son, you've made a
Okay.
once proud organization.
Look like shit.
But here, damn, I lost my train of thought.
I would say this: how much level of control are they going to give Shanahan? Is he going to be able to pick his players of where he wants?
I think between him and Lynch,
I heard Lynch has say out of the 90-man roster, and Kyle Shanahan has say over the 53-man.
Okay,
so they can come to an agreement on who to pick and who not to pick.
there you go.
Yeah, but this isn't John Lynch evaluating who the best safety on the field is. I mean, he has to be able to swindle trades with other teams, go in the war room. I mean, this is big time stuff right
I
now.
agree with you.
I mean, and to put two people that have never been together, have never even been in an executive position, in a coaching position. I mean, it's rookie on rookie right now. I mean, it's the blind leading the blind, to be quite honest. It's exactly what it is. So do I know what to expect? Absolutely not. No. None of us know I mean, it might be great, but it just doesn't look
But
good.
at least they have the time.
It just doesn't.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean,
Well, they
Is Jed York going to give them the time?
Chip Kelly had the time.
He's giving
Didn't
them
he sign a
6
two-year-
years.
Chip
He's
Kelly had a
giving-
3-year
if he-
deal.
If
Chip had more than 2. I mean, Chip still has years left on his contract.
He's getting paid.
Jim Tomsula still has years on his contract.
But clearly, they were not getting the job done. So Jed York said, "You know what? I'm going to
With
cut
that
my
roster?
nose despite
Yeah,
my
you can
face."
get anything
Nobody's
Okay.
winning with that roster.
Lombardi
agree.
couldn't win with it. Neither could Bill Belichick.
I agree with you, gentlemen. What I'm saying to you, though, is he had to take a step back and say, okay, what I was doing wasn't getting the job done. So allow me to kind of rectify the situation. I don't expect San Fran to be good the next year to possibly 2 years. But in year 3, if Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch are still together, I will say year 3, which would be 2019,
8-8.
I will at least see them.
I think they would take that at this point.
I would at least see them
See some kind
getting
of
to-
upward trend,
Right.
But I think you hit the nail on the head. The first thing that you said, you have to find a quarterback, whether it be Jimmy G, whether it be a Deshaun Watson out of college, or whether it be
Or Kirk Cousins.
I mean, yeah, that would be the ultimate. But I mean, I just don't think he'll sign there. I think he's going to stay in.
I
Washington.
think with him and Kyle Shanahan, I'll tell you right now, if Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch can go get Kirk Cousins, because Kirk Cousins is a free agent, I give them 2 years. I'll say they'll be relevant, not 2017, they'll be relevant 2018.
You usually judge a draft class by like 3 to 4 years after that draft class.
Yeah.
So to see how it's going to be hard to say how good John Lynch is at doing that. But I mean, look, guys respect him. Players might actually want to go there because, I mean, look, there's John Elway brought players to Denver just because he's John Elway. I mean, you can't tell me that Peyton Manning wouldn't have gone there if John Elway wasn't kind of the figurehead. And we've seen this in other areas. I mean, there's been coaches that have stepped off from player, and all of a sudden they're coaching, and some did good, and some just fell flat on their face.
Okay, let me ask you this: they go 4-12 next year, and 5-11 the year after. Are they gonna have patience? Because I know that fan base isn't.
Listen, that fan base wants results now, and I'm sorry to say it. You need to be patient with this because this team is in such disarray that you have to. I can't believe
it's my team. I'm the owner.
I can't believe I'm saying this because I've been so adamantly against it when it comes to my 76ers. Trust the process.
We're actually doing pretty good this year.
Oh, God.
I know. It's a hard pill. Even
Joel
for me to
Embiid
swallow.
can play.
I know.
But what I'm saying to
Who
you
knew?
is that fan base needs to look at John Lynch, need to look at Kyle Shanahan, and potentially the quarterback and say, okay, we are going to put our faith in you. We realize that we are rebuilding. I understand. We have become an instant gratification society. When it happens, we want direct results. But what I know in my heart is that if this team is ever going to come up and put their head above water, maybe even neck and shoulders for Christ's sake, they need to allow this to happen, and they need to be patient with it.
And Jed York needs to sell it.
And Jed York needs to go away. Yes, I agree. But more importantly than that, this team this fan base. I want to talk about the team. The fan base, they need to give it the appropriate amount of time. They really do. Because if they don't, then, yeah, it's going to be a revolving door of coaches and GMs and quarterbacks, and the 49ers will never get anything. They'll never build a foundation again because that's what they have to do.
If I'm John Lynch, I mean, I don't blame John Lynch for doing this and for
why
taking
would
it.
you?
I mean, shoot,
He wasn't even the best announcer for Fox. You kidding me?
It was terrible. Him and Chris Collinsworth are terrible.
Oh, thank you. Amen and hallelujah.
God.
I can't stand Chris Collinsworth.
Hey, he likes the Patriots, so I don't mind him.
Whatever. All right. Good stuff to start the show. Let's take a real quick break. When we come back, I want to talk about Oakland. The Raiders were supposed to be moving to Las Vegas. That is in doubt. And then, Great L. Bushman, you have something discussing ESPN, John Clayton's GOAT.
Hey, he had the greatest of all time top quarterbacks list.
All right, we'll definitely get into that and so much more. You are listening to us again, folks. 813-699-5353 is the number to chime in. Whole Nother Level, we're on YouTube, iTunes, Spreaker.com, Raw Talk Online, and as always, the website, www.HNL3.com. We'll be right back. And welcome back to Whole Nother Level right here at Cowork, Florida, beautiful Lakewood Ranch. Big shout out to KP for letting us come in here and do this every Tuesday from 6 to 7:30. 813-699-5353 is the number. Factual Frank, Craig, the Great L. Bushman, and your man Eric in the building. All right, so let's talk about let's do the Oakland Raiders first.
The Raiders.
Actually, you know what? Before we get to that, let me do my PSA here, my public service announcement, letting everybody know that we have a full weekend of Whole Nother Level for y'all. Whole Nother Level, Saturday, February 4th, is going to be live at Ferg's Sports Bar and Grill right next to Tropicana Field for Fan Fest. We're going to be there for 3 hours. We're going to break down the AL East. We're also going to talk and get your thought and opinion about the Super Bowl because it is Super Bowl weekend, of course. May even talk a little NBA. I'm not sure, but make sure y'all come check us out at Ferg's. We're going to be there from 1 p.m. till 4 p.m. Saturday, February 4th. Make sure you come check out the crew from Whole Nother Level. We're going to be there. And then, of course, Super Bowl Sunday. We've been talking about it. It's on Facebook. It's all over everywhere you look. The best pregame party in Sarasota. 1991 Main Street. Beautiful downtown Sarasota. Right next to the Hollywood 20. Old School Bar and Grill. We have confirmed a foursome at the Lombo Key Club. 18 holes. Everything included. Round of golf. We've also got a leather recliner coming. We're giving away lightning tickets. We've got T-shirts that we're going to be selling. Whole Nother Level is going to be in the building. We got gift cards. I just got, and big shout out to our man, the Factual Frank, for this. We got a huge gift card amount. I can't tell you how much it is. Y'all got to come check it out for yourself for Sharky's down in Venice. So all my Venice people, I want to see y'all. Oak and Stone, Big shout out to Anthony for giving us a gift certificate there. Broken Egg is giving us some stuff. Melting Pot's giving us some stuff. We're working on World of Beer, but y'all need to be there on Sunday. Come Saturday, chill with us in St. Pete for Fan Fest. Make sure y'all, it's going to be a fun-filled, whole nother level sports weekend, and we want you guys to come join us and be a part of it. With that, I'm going to keep the show going. Let's talk about the Raiders. We were talking about this during break. They're experiencing a slight hiccup when it comes to them finalizing this move to Las Vegas deal. Great L. Bushman, you said
Goldman Sachs has pulled out of the deal with also $650 million with them.
Wow. Now, from what I understand, it cost $1.5 billion for this to happen.
1.9.
1.9. Excuse
me.
me.
For the stadium to be built.
For the state. Okay. So now with Goldman Sachs taking away a third of that, basically, what does this say for the Raiders? I mean, I'm sure people in Oakland are like happy as, pigs in squat because
they have every intention to still move there. So I don't see this, hampering their style at all. And Frank, you brought up a great point with the brothers in Las Vegas, the ex-UFC owners. They have got plenty of money to sling around. So I don't know why the Davis family hasn't contacted them yet.
I would think because, I mean, that's one of the things that people speculated on when they sold it was that they were big NFL guys and that something was going to be coming down. So, I mean, it just seems like the logical thing, but
yeah, listen, there's no shortage of money in Vegas or around that area. I think somebody will step up to the plate. If it's not this guy, it's going to be next man up because I think ultimately that they want to get this deal done. I think it's going to bring kind of I wouldn't say luster to the area because it's Las Vegas. They already have that. But what I will say is maybe for, the actual fans that live in Las Vegas, something to kind of have their roots tied into. And of course, give them something more to gamble on.
I honestly think there's going to be more
transplants
and visitor fans and actual Las Vegas, Oakland, Las Vegas Raider fans.
Let me ask you guys this question. If the Tampa Bay Bucks and you decide you're going to go to one away game, and you have the opportunity to go to Atlanta, or you have the opportunity to go to Vegas and play the Raiders for a weekend full of fun, where are you going to go, Mr. L. Bushman?
Let me think.
I'm going to Chocolate City. I'm letting y'all know right now. I'm going to Chocolate
City. As much as you talk about Vegas, I'm going to go Eric, I'm calling the lie.
I'm going to Chocolate City.
The champagne flows like water and the cocaine goes like snow there. Yeah, I'll probably go to Las Vegas.
All them NFL players in Vegas, the revenue for the Bunny Ranch. Oh, man.
Dennis Hoffs is like, yes, right, I can still be in business.
But listen, I mean, you think the NFL has some issues with just marijuana now? I mean, wait till they have a team in Las Vegas. I mean, people ain't even going to show up to games. I mean,
yeah, if you got
like, where's the starting quarterback? Oh, he's locked up.
Prostitution was a stock, it would soar whenever this franchise comes into town.
TMZ is just going to position a guy outside the Bunny Ranch with a camera and just a crew, like 24 and just film it.
I'm really happy that they're going to keep kind of the logo the same and also the name of the team, unlike another California team that just did a debacle with their logo and everything like. And
wow, I really do hope they just come back and change that because that is a terrible idea.
Well, they did. They the color scheme is the yellow and the blue, but they still kept it the LA Charger thing.
I'm still going to Chocolate City. I ain't even getting involved with y'all going to Vegas, boy. Now, but I will say this.
Are you scared of Vegas?
Because
Are you scared of Vegas?
What I'm saying to you is this. Because I do live down here in Florida and my team is in Philadelphia. If Philly go to Vegas, boy, I'm not going to lie. I'm on the first thing smoking. But, yeah, Tampa, no, I'm not going. But Philly, Craig, don't lie. Patriots go to Vegas.
I'm there, baby.
We there for the week.
Oh,
Craig will take a red eye there. So
yeah,
a red eye for the red eye.
Yeah, it's red eye for the red eye.
All right, let's talk about this. John Clayton has released his. Granted, these are his top 15 greatest of all time quarterbacks.
And I already don't agree with number 1.
Super Bowl, correct?
Boo to you.
Yes, we'll
all right.
To you too.
Number 1 is Tom Brady. Number 2. Joe Montana. Number 3, Peyton Manning. 4, Unitas. 5, Otto Graham. Number 6, Elway. 7 is Favre. 8 is Marino. 9, Terry Bradshaw. Number 10, Mr. Discount Double Check, the bad man, Aaron Rodgers. Number 11, Bart Starr. 12 is Steve Young. 13 is Jim Kelly. 14 is Starbuck. And 15, rounding out the top 15, Fran Tarkenton. So, Great L. Bushman, you have a problem
I do.
with number 1.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Wasn't a couple of his Super Bowls won by a kicker?
Did he get him in
Joe
position?
Montana's Super Bowls not had to rely on a kicker.
Did he get him in position to win that Super
And I think
Bowl?
Joe Montana's 4-0 in Super Bowls. What's Tom Brady? Got a couple of losses there.
Let me disqualify.
And how many has he been to? Oh, okay.
Let me disqualify myself because I don't really have a list. So per se, I mean, there's quarterbacks that I like. I've never actually broken it down, but what I will say is, what's he looking at? Because is it by record? Obviously not. He's not looking at records. So it's just overall who you think is the best, not how many Super Bowls. Because again, it's not consistent in that regard.
I mean,
so,
Montana's undefeated
but
in the Super Bowl.
4-0.
And
Correct
Brady
me if-
used like deflated balls and stuff.
there's not 7
Did he?
quarterbacks.
Not in the
Did he?
Super Bowl, only in the AFC
On his
Championship
way there.
game,
On his way there.
allegedly. Go ahead.
There's not 7 quarterbacks better than Dan Marino. And if you look at some of those older guys, they called their own plays. No voices in the helmets back then. They had to they had to get everybody in position in that regard. So it's different eras and a different game. But like when Marino played, you could jump on the wide receiver's back and probably carry him 5 yards and it not be called pass interference. I'm just saying, back then, and Marino, everybody knows he didn't have a running game, but I mean, the way that
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar?
put the ball, the way that he could put the ball, I mean, like, there's not many that I would take ahead of Dan Marino.
So let me ask you, where would you, Frank?
Dan Marino's in my top 5. If I had a top 5,
Top five,
he's in the top 5.
he's in your top
He's
5.
a top 5 quarterback all time.
Could you give me a number 1 right now? If you had to. Do you need a minute? Or
I'd probably go Joe, just because 4-0. But I know Terry Bradshaw wasn't a great quarterback, and he threw to Lynn Swann and John Stallworth, which, that's going to make everybody a little bit better. But, hey, it's at the end of the day, it's 4-0. But I'd go Joe Montana. I mean, if I needed one right now, I'd go Joe Montana. But, I mean, look, I have Brady maybe in my top 5, at least top 10. I mean,
Okay.
Aaron Rodgers, no, probably he's probably not. But, I mean, a lot of his other picks, Otto Graham, I mean, that's a nice one. I mean, a lot of those guys that you don't see, I mean, they threw the ball a lot back then in some cases.
I would
Alright.
definitely place Dan Marino over Brett Favre.
I think Favre was
7, Marino was 8. I'd definitely
So
put
you would
Marino over
above
Favre.
that. All right, Craig.
I got an issue with the entire list. I think there's some modern day guys that should be in. I got guys in over. I'm sorry, but last time I checked, Aaron Rodgers won 1 Super Bowl, and he, other than some significant little playoff run he had this year, he was 4-6 to start this season. He's actually underachieved in his career with Mike McCarthy at quarterback. Granted, he's probably the best talent and athleticism we have in the game today. But as far as longevity so far, I still need to see more from Aaron Rodgers before I put him in that list.
Yeah, not top 10.
Yeah,
I mean,
if you go look at just sheer stats himself, I don't know how Drew Brees is not on that list. Drew Brees has Super Bowls. Drew
Roethlisberger's
Drew
got
Brees
3.
passes for 5,000 yards every single season. Ben Roethlisberger has 2. Eli Manning you can put in there. Where's Warren Moon? I don't see Joe Namath on that list. There's a lot of quarterbacks that you could definitely make the argument for. Yeah. As far as number 1, that goes to Tom Brady. I don't even think it's close. It goes to Tom Brady before he even wins the Super Bowl. And that's right. I said he's going to win the Super Bowl because he already has 4. He has been now to 7, pending this one if he wins it or not. He's been to that's 47% of the time that he has been playing in the Super Bowl of his entire career, almost 50%. And let's not forget, he missed an entire season because he blew out his ACL on the first play against the Kansas City Chiefs, I believe the game was, and that was right after they went 18-1, and they still had Randy Moss in his prime playing for the Patriots. I'm so pissed that we did not get to relive that season.
Can we save this for Sunday? I think
Oh, no,
you're
it can
giving
come up
the
again.
fans a little too much
Hey,
here.
I know, but I'm just saying we're just ranking straight quarterbacks right now. Like I said, I don't even think it's close. I'm going Tom Brady number 1. I almost mimic his list though. The top 5. Joe Montana, I like it too. I actually like Peyton Manning at number 3.
I don't.
Yeah, I would drop him down.
But I'm definitely putting Dan Marino in at 4 or 5. And then guys like Otto Graham, I've seen some of his old stuff because I've watched a lot of NFL history and NFL films, but I never got to watch him play, so I can't really respect how great he was. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
How John Elway is not in the top 5?
John Elway would probably be
top 5.
So for me, it would be John Elway and Dan Marino in at 4 and 5, and Brett Favre is a very close 6, and those other 2 are out just because I didn't get the privilege to see them play.
See, this is where we go back to the records because John Elway's lost 3 Super Bowls.
I get it.
He didn't just lose them. I mean, we're talking like 55-10, 46-8. I mean, his teams just got wrecked. So, but everybody remembers the last 2 because he won his last 2. But I mean, it's hard to put somebody up that high when you've lost 3.
Jim Kelly's
Jim Kelly's on the list at 13. He hasn't even won 1.
But he's also a couple
Dan
plays
Marino
away from
never-
winning 2 or 3 at least.
But Dan Marino never won 1. And
did
he's
not.
on the list.
Yep.
You know what I'm
So
saying?
it can't be about just championships. It's
Exactly.
got to be just about who do you like, who do you think, if you could pick, if you need one game, who you going with?
Yeah. No, okay, so we touched on it. I just wanted to get everybody's thought and opinion. Like I said, to me personally, and again, this is just me, John Elway needs to be in the top 5.
So who's your top 5, Eric?
My top 5 is Elway, and then
at 5 or
Any
1?
particular order, or you just
I'm just giving you my 5. There's no particular order because I would have to sit down and really think about everything before I would assess 1 through 5. But right now, if you say, Eric, give me 5 quarterbacks, your top 5 quarterbacks, in no particular order, it would be John Elway, it would be Warren Moon, it would be Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, and I got to go with Terry Bradshaw.
no McNabb? I can throw him in there. No McNabb.
You really going to do
Yeah,
that?
I had to, man. I had to.
Just want to.
I had to.
I got a question for you guys. Now, is your greatest also your favorite?
No.
Well, obviously mine
Well,
is.
yeah.
But
That's true.
Because
they
it's
can
not
be
that I'm
different.
biased, though. I mean, the stats speak for itself.
Yeah.
And this is in a salary cap era that he played most of his games in, where you can't consistently have a good. I mean, he didn't have Jerry Rice to throw to his entire career.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but last time I checked, Joe Montana did. You make the argument for Lynn Swann and Terry Bradshaw. I mean, who's the greatest receiver of all time? Is it unanimous? That's Jerry Rice, pretty much. I mean, you could say a Randy Moss, you could say a Terrell Owens,
But his
Jerry
name
Rice,
his name
is
always comes
always
up.
number 1. Yeah.
All-time
All-t-
wide
yeah.
receiver.
His name always is in the conversation.
His is either 1 or 2.
Yeah,
1 or
yeah,
2.
Eric, Todd Pinkston's not on the list, okay?
First down, Fred Mitchell.
Fred X.
Fred, I want to give it to Jerry Rice, but for me, I think the jury is still out because I feel like there are so many wide receivers yet to come. So I guess for now,
Okay.
I'll put Jerry
Put
Rice
this in
there.
perspective then. Do you put Calvin Johnson
No.
ahead of him? Okay.
No.
Let's see. Do you pick AJ Green?
No.
Antonio Brown?
Not above him, but he'll be on that list.
He'd be on the list.
It's all about longevity. See, the thing with Jerry
But I would also put Julio on that list.
Randy Moss has got to be.
Randy
Randy
Moss
Moss
is
is
on-
my
You can-
favorite
you
receiver
can
of
go-
all time.
You can
And-
go Rice, Moss,
When he
and
came
Tio,
out
and then
in
maybe-
'98,
Oh, yeah.
his rookie
Yeah.
year, nobody had an answer for Randy Moss because nobody had seen anybody that as big, as fast. I mean, he was making teams just, sick to their stomachs that they didn't draft
him and Chris Carter on the outside. Teams were just baffled.
But think
by it.
about that at modern day right now. I mean, Mike Evans has had a ridiculous start to his career, but everybody just talks about his drops or their team's not in the playoffs.
Right.
So does that have something to do with it? Because last I checked, he's had multiple seasons over 1,000
Are you
yards.
putting Mike Evans in the same
No,
category
I'm
as
not.
Randy
No,
Moss?
I'm not.
Oh, okay.
I'm not.
I'm just,
Now, Randy Moss is, like I said, my favorite wide receiver of all time. And for me, I think, it's a 1A, 1B, whatever you want to call it, between him and Jerry Rice. Then it goes to Terrell Owens, Chris Carter, those type of people. But I think those two are above everyone else.
All right.
But just to get back to the heart of the conversation,
Yeah.
Joe Montana threw to Jerry Rice.
This is very true. So, all right, let's talk about one last thing here. I mean, I know we've got a couple more things we can talk about, but we touched on it. Shanahan with his playbook, and I don't even know what to say about that. The
Surprised you didn't have a
reporter
tracker on it.
accidentally took his playbook.
Trackers for your phone. You can't have a tracker for your.
Gate.
Yeah, exactly.
Backpack gate, if
That
you will.
back-
You
backpack
know
gate.
who stole it?
Who?
Josh McDaniels.
Yeah, he filled
So
in
where
as a
did this
reporter.
get stolen at? I heard it was San Francisco.
I don't know.
That's what somebody said. Like, it was found at the San Francisco airport.
What the hell was he doing? Well, yeah, we all do. Yeah.
Because he's interviewing for the San Francisco job.
He
How-
left it on his desk.
How is that not handcuffed to your wrist? I mean,
How is that even with you? Should that not be? at
How do
your
you
hotel
mistakenly
room?
give your playbook to a reporter first? And luckily he gave it back, and then you lose your backpack altogether.
That doesn't bode too well for them
No.
coming up this week. I mean, he's clearly needs some sleep. He's been preparing a little too much.
It's just I mean,
hey, listen, Tom Brady is from San Francisco. So you know
Tom
what?
Brady
I'm
did
just saying. He could have been there.
Giselle was in the hotel with him, and then
He's like, yo, he's at the airport.
Yo.
Snag it when you can. He just fell asleep. They gave him the decaf coffee.
Just one more
Not the
reason-
regular.
Just one more reason why the Patriots will get blamed for something
man.
that they have nothing that they didn't even do. But somehow, some way, they'll connect the dots back to New England and back to Brady. Brady be like, listen, I was in Cozumel. I don't know what the hell y'all talking about. I was chilling with the wife and the kids, and how am I in San Francisco? You want to see my phone now? I mean, anyhow. All right, so something else that we want to talk about. Floyd Money Mayweather has actually come out and said that this fight, the one between him and Conor McGregor, might actually happen. It might not take the 5 to 10 to 20 years like the Pacquiao-Mayweather fight took for us to watch a 12-round just crap show.
Snooze fest?
Yeah.
they were hugging it out.
But
5 years of pent up.
It doesn't have to take 5, 10, 15 years. That's why.
But here's
if
the
I'm
thing.
Floyd, I'm pushing for this fight tomorrow. Who's going to pony up the money?
Floyd is saying that they might actually do this. So, gentlemen, how do we feel about this?
Two biggest draws in sports.
Yes.
Right now, as far as fighting. Conor McGregor for UFC, Floyd Mayweather for boxing. It doesn't get any bigger. They can generate whatever kind of money they want because people will watch this. Listen, it's not going to be close. If they box, Floyd Mayweather is going to destroy Conor McGregor.
He has to hit him.
It doesn't matter. Floyd, he will hit him. Because if Conor McGregor can get knocked out basically by Nate Diaz, I'm sorry to say, Floyd Mayweather is going to put on a clinic with Conor McGregor. But now, if it was the other way around, Floyd wouldn't stand a chance. But the problem is that Conor McGregor is going to boxing.
Floyd doesn't have knockout power. He has small hands.
I'm just saying.
Nate Diaz trains with Andre Ward. He hits hard. I mean, he extremely hard. So Floyd's not going to knock really anybody out. And what size gloves are they going to use? MMA gloves are 4 ounces. Boxing gloves are 12. Mm-hmm. You got them big padded things that Floyd's been using his whole life, basically. MMA gloves, it's basically like getting hit just...
So you think they would meet in the middle on that?
See, that's
do
what,
like 6 or 8.
That's where I think the hang-up is going to be. I think it's nice that they're saying all this stuff, but when it gets down to it, Conor's going to want them 4-ounce gloves, and Floyd is probably going to want the 12.
And how many rounds is it going to be?
Conor was an amateur boxer before he got into MMA. So it's the equivalent. And MMA boxing is different than regular boxing because you have to adjust your stances for fear of takedowns. So your MMA boxing technique is never as good as real boxers. So you're putting in an amateur boxer in there. Now, Conor is a little better than the average MMA boxer. I'm not saying he's nowhere in Floyd's category, but if he connects, and that's a big if because I know Floyd's really defensive and everything, but Conor, I think, can take the punches. I think Floyd would probably, black his eyes, bust him up. I don't think he's knocking him out. But if Conor connects, it's just going to take one. Conor has knockout power, and he's a little bigger than Floyd. That's my concern. I'm not
just take one,
huh?
You just think it's going to take one?
If
it
he
needs
connects,
to happen, and then it needs to end like Rocky 2.
I couldn't disagree more.
Conor's hit guys way bigger than Floyd and put them to sleep. And when they get hit with one of his shots, like the Eddie Alvarez fight, when Conor hit Eddie, the look on Eddie's face was like, oh,
shit.
Yeah. That, guys don't know what kind of power he has until – I'm not saying that Floyd doesn't have power, but he's not known as a knockout kind of guy. And his hands are – I mean, Floyd's not a big guy in general. I mean, he's a great boxer, but, I mean, what is he like? I mean, is he 5 foot tall?
I think he's like 5'5", 5'6". So, this needs to happen because this could be billed as the biggest douche fight in the whole history of boxing and MMA.
There'll be a lot of trash talk
because they're both douchebags. So
the press
conferences alone would be awesome. I want this to happen. But it needs to happen.
Conor's under contract with UFC, and so anything in that regard is going to have to go through Dana. And if Conor wants to go rogue, I mean, the one thing they always say about the UFC, how they can get away with so much stuff, is because their lawyers are better than everybody else's. When fighters start complaining about money and unions and all this stuff, what happens to it? It all just goes away.
Mm-hmm. I'm really surprised there hasn't been more traction on it because, I mean, Dana White already offered him $25 million to do it.
But Floyd don't need that much money.
Yeah,
I mean, he'll take it. Don't get me wrong.
He's wanting 100.
Right.
He wants. Look, Conor sold his last pay-per-view. I think sold $1.5 million. I mean, so you can't say. I think his Pacquiao fight sold. What did they say? Like 4 million? Or
it was
something?
it was billed as the biggest one, but it was also the biggest disappointment because
Well, yeah, because his last one was only like 300,000.
Yep.
But you can't tell because Conor's worldwide. I mean, he's big in Europe, Ireland. I mean, so the money could be. I mean,
astronomical.
it would be too much money for it to not happen. But I don't know. I'm still skeptical that it actually happens. But from Conor's standpoint, I mean, look, he's tired of fighting and making. I mean, he makes more than anybody on that roster pretty much, and he's only clearing like 3-4 million with his pay-per-view buys in a lot of those fights. So Floyd makes that. I mean, my goodness. I mean, Conor doesn't want to do this for the rest of his life. He's looking for a big payday, and then he's basically probably going to be
So
going.
how long? Let me ask you, gentlemen, this question: how long are we going to give this McGregor-Mayweather match before we're like, okay, we don't want to see it anymore?
I gave it this year, and that's it.
I was going to say the exact same
Give
thing.
it
I think if it
27
doesn't
this
happen by
year-
the end of 2017, it won't happen.
Because it can't keep stretching out like the whole Pacquiao Mayweather fight.
Well,
like
Floyd's getting old too.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, but he has some. I mean, Canelo Alvarez, Miguel Cotto, Manny Pacquiao, Oscar De La Hoya. I mean, these are ridiculous boxers. You know what I'm saying? Like I just don't even think it's gonna be close.
I'm not.
We can get to that if it happens. But with that said, Conor has nothing to lose. He's going to get paid if the fight happens.
Yep.
So Floyd literally has everything to lose. He's never been beaten, and for him to take this fight, if he is upset, it's going to be the biggest upset ever.
And that's what I said when we talked about this a while back. I said you have to think of it like this. Look at the legacy that Floyd is trying to leave here. Look at the mark that he's trying to leave in the world of boxing. If somebody from MMA comes over to boxing and knocks out the man, which technically Floyd is right now, do you imagine? I mean, it's like I always go back to what I call the Goldberg scenario. It doesn't matter how many wins you got. People will always and forever talk about your first loss. And for him to say, I done beat the De La Hoyas, I done beat the Pacquiaos, I done beat the Alvarezes, I done beat them all. But you can't beat an MMA amateur boxer? No one's going to care about anything else.
I'm not saying that if Conor just hits Floyd once, he knocks him out. I'm saying the right shot. It would have to be the right.
Yeah.
Because when he connects with in certain spots with his left hand, and that's usually what he's known for, that's when the look on their face goes like,
Oh, shit,
Yeah,
look.
exactly. That kind of, because he has that kind of power. But I think Floyd would put on a clinic in that regard, but I don't think Floyd could knock him out.
Yeah, I think that you hit the nail on the head earlier, Frank. Floyd is such a defensive fighter, and you know what? He's a very cocky person, but he's not a cocky fighter. No. He doesn't really put himself in predicaments that he can't get out of, and we've seen this time and time again. That's why the Pacquiao fight was such a snoozer, is because he wasn't letting Pacquiao even hit him, really. Pacquiao would swing, and he'd get like 1 out of 10 punches connected, and it wasn't a hard punch at all. So, I mean, and basically McGregor's used to fighting 3 and 5 rounds. He might get a little irritated if it's in the 4th round and try to start just going at him because he's getting really tired.
And that was what I was
Floyd's
gonna
just
say.
going to be like, okay, now I waited and now I can just attack because he will get tired.
But that's what I'm saying to you. UFC, they have 5-minute rounds. Boxing only has 3-minute rounds. So you got to figure it like this. After 15 minutes? 5 rounds? Conor still has he's got another 3 rounds to go.
Yeah, but his cardio, he's not known for his cardio.
But it's only 3 as opposed to 5. And plus there's that break in between. In UFC, you have I think it's the same amount of allotment time to rest, but it's also shorter.
Different kind of exhaustion too, though, because in UFC, you are on the ground and stuff. Sometimes you can catch your breath a little bit better doing these, grapples and on the ground, and
Rest
you're
up.
trying to get out of some things. Boxing, you're just trying to dodge and go, and you're always trying to keep your feet moving forward or side to side. So, it'll definitely take some training. And that's why I think he needs to, if they're going to make it happen in the next couple of months, like sign it for like a November, December. That you need a solid. If you're McGregor, you need a solid 5-6 months to train for this fight. Don't take it in a month or two notice because you are going to get embarrassed.
New Year's Eve, 2017. New Year's Eve.
Wow.
December 31st, 2017. This
Wouldn't
fight
that be
needs to
awesome?
happen. That fight needs to happen.
One of the things.
El Bushman, the promoter.
You know what I'm
Shit,
saying?
sign me up, man.
What's in Connor's
Can I hold
favor?
your bags?
Sure.
Okay. I'm saying.
This has got Jerry World written all over it. I mean, they do this. But one of the things in Connor's favor is because his boxing style and his stance is a little more MMA geared, Floyd's probably not seen anybody with that particular stance because most boxers usually have a straight boxing style stance. And everybody says that Connor's it's a little different. He does the movement coaches, and he's a southpaw. So, again, I'm not saying that makes it that he wins, but it's going to be Floyd will have to read him maybe a little differently than like just a straight boxing style or straight boxing stance, I guess.
All right. Well, last little order of business. I just want to make sure everybody knows yet again my PSA public service announcement. Listen, people, we have got a I'm talking full-blown weekend of whole nother level for you. You need to be a part of this. This is going to be a weekend like none other. First off, Saturday, get to Ferg's up in St. Pete for Fan Fest. Make sure y'all come check us out. We are going to be there from 1 till 4 p.m., 3 hours of whole nother level. We're going to break down the AL East, all 5 teams, the Blue Jays, the Orioles, the Red Sox, the Yankees, and, of course, the Rays. We're going to give you our breakdown of the entire AL East. Plus, we're going to grab you fans because we want to hear from you. What do you think about the Super Bowl? Are you a fan because you just want to see Tom Brady lose? Are you an actual Patriots fan? Are you an actual Falcons fan? Do you not want to see Atlanta win?
I'm just there to see Lady Gaga. I'm just kidding.
Kind of.
Can you mute your own mic, please? Anyhow,
No.
1 to 4, Saturday, get the Fergs. Make sure you check us out. And then, again, we have been promoting this for the longest, and we want to see you there with us. Old School, 1991 Main Street, beautiful downtown Sarasota, right next to the Hollywood 20. The absolute best pregame party in all of Sarasota is going down at Old School. 50-50 raffle, lightning tickets, leather recliner, foursome of golf at the Longbow Key Club. Cart and everything is included. All you got to do, show up, be there, do the raffle with us. We're going to be giving away prizes. 3 p.m.
We
We're
kick
getting
it off
started.
at 3. Let's get it in there.
Listen,
Come a little early. Come 2:30.
2:30.
Listen,
Let's just get
we're
there
not
at 2
waiting.
and wait for us.
We're not waiting.
We
till-
might even be there at 1:58.
We're not waiting until
I'll be there at 11.
Steve. Thanks for joining us. We're not waiting until 4 or 5 o'clock to give away prizes. So if you're not there at 3 o'clock, because when we first take our first break, I'm giving stuff
Oh,
out.
listen, we're giving stuff away all day. 3:15, 3:30.
Exactly.
We
I
have
mean,
one judge locked in for the hottest, sexiest football fan already.
Carl is locked in. Yes.
Actually, Tabitha is locked in.
And we got two.
Tabitha,
Carl
yes.
and Tabitha are locked in. Yes, we are doing biggest diehard fan and hottest football fan. Those winners, along with, let me break this down for you because you have to be present to win. The Lightning tickets we're going to give away at the end of the first quarter of the Super Bowl, along with that gift card that we got from Sharky's, which, again, big shout-out to our man, Factual Frank Mazzei, for doing that for us. The big prizes, the 50-50 raffle itself, the leather recliner, the foursome of golf, the hottest football fan and the biggest diehard fan we are going to announce at halftime. So make sure you are with us. Start at 3. We're going to roll all the way into the Super Bowl. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't even know if Craig is going to be coherent, but we love him.
How
and
many
we will
shots
take care
of
of him.
Fireball?
I don't know what's going on. I might have an Uber on the way home
I don't know what's
at
going
like
on.
3:05.
Exactly.
You guys might have to do the show without me.
He'll be there. Don't worry about it. But like I'm saying,
Bottle of Fireball with
the
a straw.
best pregame party in Sarasota is at Old School, 1991 Main Street, beautiful downtown Sarasota. Whole nother level is going to be there. And we're also going to tell you who we think is going to win the Super Bowl. You want to know? You got to show up. So, for the Factual Frank Mazzei, our man Craig Cousin, the great Al Bushman, this is your man Eric. We will see y'all Saturday at Ferg's, taking you to a whole nother level. We'll see you then.
good, mate. What do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world.